Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well. Now, as I'm sure many of you will be aware, the last week or so has been pretty chaotic within the trading industry. Now, ever since the news that MyForexFunds was being investigated by the CFTC, there's been a lot of stories, rumours, speculation going around, especially on social media and other online platforms. And seeing as I was getting a lot of questions myself about the situation, I thought I'd record a video, give my view on what's happened over the last week and try and answer some of those questions that I know you guys have all been asking. Now, before we go into much more detail about the situation, what actually happened with MyForexFunds and what this means for the future, I just want to make two things very clear from the beginning. The first point is that MyForexFunds was a complete scam. I mean, from the charges that are being brought against them, it pretty much operated as a Ponzi scheme. And although they've got that court date coming up in a few days' time, I think on the 11th of September, I think it's very, very, very unlikely that any of these charges are going to be dropped just because of the sheer amount of evidence against them. Now, secondly, the impact of these rulings against MyForexFunds is going to be felt elsewhere in the prop firm trading industry, and this is likely going to come in the form of new regulation. Now, whilst we don't know the form these regulations are going to come in, we can still remain confident that the prop firm industry is not going anywhere just yet. Just because new regulations are going to come in does not mean that this is going to be the end of prop firm history. We are likely just going to see changes into the way that these companies run and operate on a day-to-day basis. Now that we have those 2 points out of the way, we can go into some more detail about the situation with MyForexFunds and the likely impact this is going to have on the prop firm industry. But as always, before we jump into the video, make sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out the Instagram and Discord server. So guys, on the 31st of August, MyForexFunds sent out messages on all of their social and also updated their own website with the following message. Basically, it was saying that the previous day they had learned without any prior notice or discussion that a provincial securities regulator in Canada and also the commodities regulator in the United States had issued them with orders preventing them from being able to trade securities or accessing any of the funds in their bank accounts. And pretty much they said from here, until these freeze orders are lifted, our business is effectively, or at least temporarily frozen as well. So at this point, I went over to my MT4, tried to see if I could place any orders or anything. And yeah, the markets were just completely frozen, weren't moving at all. You weren't able to place any orders of any kind. So I knew that, as the message said, MyForexFunds was definitely down at the moment. And yeah, we didn't really know too much about it, really. They did say that they had a court date for the September 11th in the US. But again, yeah, didn't really say what it was about. My first impression when I saw this was that there was possibly a new regulation coming out that MyForexFunds needed to comply with to continue operating. And yeah, I didn't think too much of it. I was on holiday at this point, so I literally just saw this message, didn't think too much of it, and sort of got on with my day. And then I think a few hours later, the CFTC, which is the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, published this. It's a very sort of summarized report covering the charges they brought against MyForexFunds. So at this point, we were made aware of the charges against MyForexFunds, and you were also able to bring up the official document by the CFTC with all of the official charges against MyForexFunds, which was operating under Traders Global Group, and also the owner, who is Murtuza Kazmi. And yeah, basically, we will go through this article now. I will just say that Kimmel Trading, if you know him on YouTube, did a great video, well, actually a series of videos going through this article in a lot of detail. So if you do want a really, really detailed overview, definitely recommend checking out that video if you haven't already. But I will now just go through the sort of summary, the key points, and also some points that I've taken out myself that I think, really important to get your head around. So if we go down to the first page, we've got a very nice summary of all of the charges that the CFTC is bringing against MyForexFunds, or as I said, the company name they were operating under. As you'll know, if you traded with them when you were hooking up your broker, it would always be Traders Global Group. So as we can see from the summary, MyForexFunds is being accused of having engaged and continue to engage in a large-scale fraud scheme involving leverage, margined, or finance retail forex exchange, brackets retail forex, and retail commodity transactions. And they are in violation of several acts and regulations that they list in further detail below. But something that's quite important to pick out here is that these two quotes at the bottom here, so your success is our business, and we only make money when you do, taken directly from the website. And as we'll see later in the document, these are used against the company as part of the fraud, because this is a complete lie. And we will see that the opposite is actually true for both of these statements, that your failure is their business and they're only ever going to make money when you lose money. So the complete opposite of what they state on their website. However, as it says here, through all of their social media marketing, they've been able to have over 135,000 people sign up during the relevant period, which I believe was from November 2021. And they have made at least $310 million in fees alone. So, a huge operation that was going on. As you see, 135,000 people have signed up and have therefore, been a victim of this fraud. And, they are very, very clear here. Traders Global is a fraud. There's nothing about it. Traders Global was never a third-party liquidity provider, as it claimed. And as we can see here, Traders Global Group does not make money when the customers make money, and it therefore loses money when the customers make money. So again, a clear conflict of interest straight away, because if the prop firm doesn't want you making money, then as we will see in this document, they might be inclined to do things to make sure that you are failing your accounts or, losing those live counts if you do get through the challenges. If we go down very slightly, we can see that pretty much all of the payments that came out to those successful traders, so when you were taking your payout, they were pretty much all paid through by the fees of customers who had failed those challenges. And in that manner, it was very, very similar to a Ponzi scheme, because if you think about it as the typical, triangle formation, you've got all the people at the bottom who are the people buying the challenges and failing. Just above them, you have the people that are buying challenges, maybe getting the free retries, maybe passing one, maybe losing one. And then at the very top, the very small amount of people, you get those people who are funded and are managing to get payouts, even with what MyForex funds were doing against you to make sure that you weren't getting payouts. But yeah, that's what I mean. A very, very small percentage of people were making the most amount of profit. And of course, the guy who was making the most beyond reason, really, as we'll see later, the things he bought, including luxury cars and, huge houses, was Murtuza Kazmi, the owner of MyForex funds. So as it says here, a very clear Ponzi scheme in the way that those registration fees worked. So as we then scroll down, it gives a short list of some of the things that MyForex funds was doing to sort of handicap their traders to increase the likelihood that they would fail their challenges or lose their live account if they had passed those challenges. Now, the first thing they give is a drawdown limit, and you might not think that anything is actually wrong with that. And that's right, there's nothing wrong with having a drawdown limit. But the reason they're putting this in here is because the drawdown limit, as we will see, was actually used as a way for them to have reason to take away your account, to fail your challenges, or to sort of violate your live account. And they would specifically target that one rule with, this specialized system that they had. As we'll see below, they were secretly using a specialized software to stack the odds against customers. And that way, through delaying execution or executing your orders at a worse price, suffering with really bad slippage, you're going to edge closer and closer towards that drawdown limit. And that's when they're going to be able to, take that account away from you and profit from the fee that you have paid to them. Another important thing to note here is that as MyForex Funds was not working as a third-party liquidity provider, they were never actually placing your trades in the live market. All of the commissions you were ever paying was just a fee that MyForex Funds was taking away from you, and again, was making you even closer to that drawdown limit. And then, as we see here, we've got another specialized software to increase the distance between the best bid or offer. And this is, again, going to decrease your customer profits and increase your losses. So as we continue down, we get sort of more evidence of that Ponzi scheme, as I was saying before, where Murtuza Kazmi, or at least the company itself, had a net income of approximately 172 million. And Kazmi himself used these proceeds from the fraud to purchase luxury homes and automobiles and make tens of millions of dollars in transfers to his personal account. So as we can see there, he was making a huge amount of money from this. and yeah, living a very luxurious life, but one based on complete fraud. And then just below, we have a quick summary of some of the regulations and sections of specific acts that MyForex funds have allegedly broken. And then we're just going to continue down to the bit that has a bit more detail about the charges being brought against them. So at section B of the document, which is on page 13, we do get a bit more detail into how Traders Global was working in a fraudulent way. Again, this whole section is titled Traders Global is a fraud. So, there is no doubt in their mind about what Traders Global was. And yeah, as we can see, Traders Global was the counterpart to substantially all customer trades, which meant when a customer makes money, it means Traders Global loses money. And therefore, Traders Global was utilizing various devices to reduce the likelihood or amount of profitable trading by customers. And again, we had those, drawdown limits, commissions that weren't actually being paid to the live market. So it was just a fee getting taken away from you. And then, that specialized software that was handicapping your trading in the live market. And as we can see here, they were also sending orders to a non-US dealer, and the artificial widening of price, again, to make it look like you had really bad slippage. And yeah, it's really not great. It's actually something that at the time I thought was just bad spreads of MyForex funds. And this was on my live account. And I remember one occasion where I was in a trade on Aussie Japanese yen, I believe. And, price was fairly near my stop loss, hadn't been taken out yet. And then all of a sudden, I think it was probably like 8:45 GMT. It was no news, no anything. Randomly, spreads spiked 2 pips, taken out, and then straight back down to 0.5 or whatever they were before. And I remember thinking, this is really weird. There's no news. I've literally just been spiked out, and then price continued on fine. And yeah, I guess I've got no proof, but it seems like this type of thing with the artificial widening of spreads. I think that was possibly a clear example of them doing that to me on my live account, which was actually a scaled account. So at that point, I don't know. I could have been getting targeted. I'm just speculating here. I do not know for certain, but we will continue with the document anyway, because as we can see here, customers who are on those live accounts, as they were called, are never actually trading live funds, and they're never actually trading against multiple liquidity providers, as MyForex funds claim on their websites. And the customers never actually take a share in the trading profits. As we said earlier, the customers are trading against Traders Global in an electronic trading environment that Traders Global controls, and basically any profits to which the customer may be entitled, if they have profited in that month or given period of time, will come out of Traders Global pocket themselves. So pretty much anytime they have to pay out a trader, they're paying them out of their own profits from the fees that they've collected from everyone taking the challenges, which obviously means every time they pay out a trader, they're losing money. They're not profiting your trades in the live market, so making money when you make money and losing money when you lose money, as it suggests on their website. They're doing the complete opposite. And yeah, again, a clear Ponzi scheme, nothing, no debate about it. Now, as we continue down, we can see that the drawdown rule was designed to cheat customers. And again, it was to provide Traders Global with a bad faith pretext to disable customers' accounts. Now, what that means is it was pretty much used as a scapegoat or as an excuse to always be able to, to have that excuse to be able to say, sorry, you've lost your account because you've hit that drawdown limit. If they didn't have that clear rule, then it would be harder for them to make sure that traders lose money. But by having a drawdown limit, it's something that they can target, systematically with that automated system that they've already mentioned in the document. And this way, customers are going to lose their accounts more quickly, which means that, this loss does not affect Traders Global at all, because if it's a challenge and you lose the challenge, they just take your fee anyway. And if you're on a live account and you lose money, you're not getting paid out, which is great for them, and they're not copying your trades, so they're not losing money in that way. The only way they're losing money is if you succeed in the market and they have to pay you out. So, complete conflict of interest, so far gone that there's, there's nothing close to even thinking you're slightly aligned with the prop firm in your goals. Now, as we continue down slightly, we'll go back to that commissions point. And basically, MyForex funds used to claim on their website that all traders are subject to commissions of $3 per lot, which is fairly low actually for most prop firms. But as you're going to be able to see, Traders Global was not copying your trades in the live market, and it was all simulated, which means any commissions you were paying, were never going to that third-party liquidity provider that they claimed. They were literally just being used as a fee on your challenge account or your live account to again push you that just a little bit closer to your daily drawdown or your overall drawdown, and then they're able to take that account away from you. So, these commissions were literally just them taking small amounts of money, $3 per lot, every single trade you take, they're going to cost you, charge you for that. And yeah, you're going to pay the price for that over a long time. And as we can see here, during the relevant period, Traders Global assessed more than 7 million in commissions against customers' accounts. So they were pretty much taking away 7 million worth of balance of people's challenges or live accounts just through these commissions that were never getting put in the live market. That they were just completely false, complete fabrication. Again, clear fraud. Now, this is the part of the document where we get to the bit about the specialized software, which was there to automatically add delay or slippage to customer orders. And if we go down slightly, we get a bit more detail on this. And basically, the CFTC found that by dialing the slippage up, Traders Global sets the software to automatically execute customers' market orders at a worse price than the best bid or offer displayed at the time when the customer entered the order. And basically, they give an example just under for what this means. And, let's say you're about to buy a contract for euros and the offer price is, $1, 1.759. And basically what would happen is that when you would press that button, and this would obviously be the price you're expecting price to take you in at, when you press the buy order, you're actually going to get taken in at 1800, which means you're always going to be executed at a worse price than what you think you're going to be, entered into the market at. Now, this doesn't just apply for the challenges, because as they say here, customers whose trading generates consistent profits are actually subject to longer delays and increased slippage implemented by Traders Global. So, as soon as you get to that live account, you start getting a bit of consistency, maybe start getting a few payouts. You're now going to be subject to longer delays and increased slippage, because guess what? Traders Global or MyForex funds don't want you to succeed. They want you to get closer to, they're going to do anything to hinder your strategy, to make you, to reduce your profits or to increase your losses. And yeah, this was really systematic, especially how they're waiting for, those traders who prove consistent profits are then going to be, hindered even more with those delays and increased slippage. And as we can see down here, it was only a very, very small number of customers trading those live accounts that managed to trade profitably, despite, Trader Global's attempts to handicap them, which just shows that, the majority of people who were even able to pass the challenge and get the live accounts failed to actually sustain any profitability on the sort of funded accounts. And I'm sort of using air quotations as I say that, as we obviously know they weren't actually funded accounts. And as it goes into a bit of detail here, which is another really interesting point, is that once MyForex funds or Traders Global were able to identify those small amount of traders who were able to remain profitable, even despite all they were doing to stop them, those were the only very, very small section of traders who would ever get their trades copied in the live markets. And this is what they call STPing, which is straight through processing. And again, that is basically the prop firm then deciding to copy your trades into the live market. So that is literally the only time you've ever actually, or MyForex fund, has ever actually been doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is, copying your trades into the live market. And as we see here, it is very, very rare. And of the 24,000 customers with live accounts during that period, fewer than 100 of them had a single trade that was STP'd, so copied into the live market. So as it says there, fewer than 100 people out of the 24,000 of customers with live, and again, air quotes of live accounts, were ever actually copied into the live market, which is it's just crazy, honestly. And as we scroll down, which is even more crazy, is that more than 70% of the customers, so of those, 100 that went through and were actually getting STP'd, copied into the live market, they actually made less money than they were before when they were trading, as they say here, unbeknownst to them, against Traders Global, so against the fund's money. And, this just shows how badly it was working for MyForex funds, because basically what was happening is as soon as the traders were making money and they decided to start copying their trades, that was when they started to, make less money. And as we can see, when those traders did actually make their profit, all the profit that was coming out was getting paid out of the dealer's pocket, who is that third party provider that MyForex funds were copying their trades into. But we can even see, maybe the reason why more than 70% of the customers weren't making money or as much money when their trades were being copied is because Traders Global was still, trying to hinder your abilities to make profit by imposing additional spread on the price visible to your MT4. So this meant that you were always having your trades executed at a worse price than what Traders Global were getting from their dealer, which again meant that every time you were placing an order and this was actually being copied into the live market, you were going to have additional spreads because MyForex funds wanted to make some more profit out of you because, they clearly weren't having enough profit already. Again, just crazy, crazy stuff. And, as we see here, as we scroll down, 310 million in customer registration fees alone. And, they did pay out 137 million. So they were clearly making money and being able to pay out customers, which is, again, why it was able to go on for so long, because if they weren't able to pay out customers, they would have been outed a long time ago. People wouldn't have been trading with them. And yeah, in that time, a net income of 172 million. And this is where we get to, just ridiculous amounts of money. So in April 2022, the owner Kazmi paid 1.6 million to purchase a Lamborghini Aventador. In December, so half a year later, he thinks Lamborghini is not good enough for me. I'm going to pay 3.3 million for a Bugatti, and again, some huge houses as well. So he paid more than 4.9 million for one house and 12.6 million for an estate in Richmond Hill, and then again another house, so a third house for just $1 million this time for a 5-bedroom house in Somerset, New Jersey. So yeah, 3 houses, 2 sports cars, both worth over $1 million each. One of them 3.3 million. It's just crazy. Again, clear sign of a Ponzi scheme. The guy who's created it at the very top of that pyramid is, taking all of the profits. And again, all of these profits are coming from those registration fees, and they're getting you to fail. And yeah, hopefully you guys can see from this that it was just a complete scam. It was complete fraud. Nothing about it was remotely true. Literally everything that was on their website was a complete lie. And yeah, it's awful that they were able to get away with this for so long. But this brings us to the next point, is that what is going to happen after this? They've been given this official complaint by the CFTC, as we can see here. They're going to be on court on the 11th. So as you can see, I'm recording this on the 9th. So in 2 days, they're going to be in court. What is going to happen in the future? As I've already said, in my opinion, it's not going to be the end of prop firm trading. But I have found 2 articles that we'll go through. They're the only ones I've really been able to find online that give a bit of insight into what may happen. But yeah, we'll go into them now because they give a little bit of an insight as to what we can expect to happen in, the fallout of this Ponzi scheme, this fraud, this complete scam. So yeah, we'll jump over to that article now. So as the title suggests, MyForex fund scam might trigger regulation push on prop trading. Now, I know some people have been asking, why aren't prop firms regulated already? And the whole point is, again, as this sort of subtitle says, is that prop firms skipped regulations currently as they never actually handle the client's money. And this differentiates them from brokers who are directly handling your money. And as MyForex funds and other prop firms are never directly managing your money, you pay them a fee and then you get an account that's funded by them, or at least you think is funded by them. They're never handling your money in that sense. They just take that initial fee. They're not going to be regulated in the same way that brokers are, where you would open an account and deposit, 1,000, 10,000, however much you were depositing. And therefore that broker is handling your money directly by placing those orders for you. So then as we scroll down, the article just gives a bit of history on the sort of model that prop firms use. And then they also give a bit of a summary on the sort of MyForex fund scam, but we've just been through that. So I'm not going to go through this section. So we'll just be repeating the same sort of stuff. But we do then come to a section about incoming regulations. And as it says here, as we were just mentioning, prop firms do not handle clients' funds. So they're not subject to the same regulations as brokers. They only provide liquidity and execute the orders on other brokerages, which is again why they are supposed to be linked with those third-party liquidity providers, which is again is one of those things that MyForex Fund was not doing. They were operating as their own broker, which brought a huge amount of issues again. And this guy here, the CEO of TR Action FinTech, I'm not actually aware of the company myself, but he gives a bit of an insight into sort of some of the regulations that could be coming. And he says, we anticipate guidance from global regulators on how the current framework applies to these operating models. And this type of guidance is not unheard of and has actually been released in the past by regulators such as the ACIC, FCA, and others in regards to cryptocurrencies, social trading, buy now, pay later, crowdfunding, and other financial innovations, even CFDs back in the day. So basically what he's saying is that, this situation with MyForex funds is nothing new. It's happened, in all of these things before. So cryptocurrency, social trading, even CFDs all the way back in the day had the exact same problems as this. As it says here, as the market evolves and innovates, regulators will always experience a lag between the state of the laws and what it needs to protect customers. And as we can see from the MyForex fund situation, this is clear evidence of that lag. As we have this company that's been able to operate fraudulently, it clearly shows that there is need for more regulation within the prop firm industry. And then interestingly, he adds that existing laws about advertising and bonus structures and payments should actually be sufficient tools for the regulators to stop any deceptive or unlawful practices. So I guess what he's saying here is that there are already some regulations out there which should be focused on more. And I guess we will see this with MyForex funds, the case against MyForex funds and what happens within their court proceeding on the 11th. We will see, will some of these advertising and bonus structures payments be some of the issues that the regulators are looking towards to charge MyForex funds with? And if we go down slightly lower, the article actually makes a really interesting point about one of the other reasons that MyForex funds might have been flagged, and an issue that other prop firms may find is that, one of these challenges you can take, which I think is the instant funding challenge they're referring to, is where they accept clients' monies who skipped the trading challenge. And he basically goes on to say that anyone offering or entering into these types of challenges is acting in a clear violation of the law. And, if this is true, if it is, in a clear violation of the law, I think this is one of the first things we're going to see prop firms start to do, which is, removing those certain challenges from their offering, taking it off their website, stop offering them, as I don't think they will want to take that risk if what he's saying here is true. If it is against the law to be offering those instant funding, then I think that's definitely something that prop firms will look to get rid of as soon as they can. And then finally, the article just notes that, as I'm sure we're all aware now, that the possibility of regulatory attention on the prop firm trading industry has increased dramatically. And I think it is very, very likely that we are going to see some form of regulation come into the prop firm industry. Again, as you can see from this article, and as I've been saying myself, we don't really have that, strong of an idea of the type of regulation that's going to come in, how strict it's going to be, and possibly which companies are going to survive, which companies are going to, bail out or go bust. But that's just something that we're going to find out over the next few weeks, ideally. Hopefully we'll get some answers after this sort of MyForex funds court date, which, as I've said, is on the 11th, so in 2 days from the time I'm recording this video. And the only other thing I have noticed in some articles, and we'll touch on that now, is that, if it loads, there we go, is that prop firms may start to turn to the Middle East as they consider leaving Europe in the wake of IFPR. And this is the investment firms prudential regime. And I assume this is going to be bringing in new regulations that these prop firms might not want to work with. And this is why, it says here they took a survey and it found that around 50% of prop firms said they were considering moving operations out of European markets. And as we can see, as we scroll down, it says 17% of those surveyed responded they would most likely move operations to the UAE, or 15% would move to Singapore, where these are seen as the most attractive locations. Again, I'm not an expert on this. I'm not an expert on regulation around, prop firms or brokers or anything like this. But I'm assuming, this is all about the regulations that are available within those countries and what those prop firms are able to do. So this is why it's really important to do your research into the prop firm, where they're operating, if they are regulated, or if the third-party providers, the brokers that they're using are regulated. And this is, again, something that I wanted to touch on just now, because I know a lot of you guys have been asking the question, whether we can still trust the other prop firms that are still operating within the industry. was MyForex Funds an isolated case, or is it representative of all of the other prop firms within the industry? And do we need to be really cautious with who we are, investing our money with? Really, you're paying that fee to take a challenge. You want to make sure that that company is trustworthy, and as was the case with MyForex Funds, is not lying to you about how they're operating their business.
Now, guys, whether you can trust a prop firm or not is going to be completely down to you. Now, there are several things you can do which is going to help you evaluate the different prop firms that are out there, and I really strongly recommend that you do your own research before you sign up to any prop firm. And my advice at the moment actually would be to just sit back for a bit. Don't buy any new challenges at the moment. I advise just waiting for this situation to cool down a bit. We'll see what happens with MyForex Funds in their court case on the 11th. And yeah, I really just wouldn't rush anything right now, because there's a whole range of things that could happen. There's a lot of uncertainty, and there's no point risking any capital by buying challenges when we really just don't know what is going to happen. Now, going back to actual prop firms, there has been quite a lot of silence actually since the MyForex Fund situation, which is a bit weird because you would think that the prop firms out there who are trustworthy would be making a real push to sort of clarify the situation and sort of show their members and their customers why they can be trusted and how they differ from MyForex Funds. And in my opinion, there has literally only been one prop firm that has done that, and that is the Fivers, or the 5%ers. And I think they have, they've released a lot of videos, and they actually did a live stream with their owner on YouTube, which I would really highly recommend watching, as he goes into a lot of detail about how the business operates, what funds you're trading with when you go live, if your orders are being copied. And he also actually mentions quite a few of the third-party liquidity providers, and these are some really big names. I'm not going to mention them here because you can go check it out on their YouTube. And yeah, I would really highly recommend watching that video, as it's just really good to see a prop firm actually make the effort to clarify the situation and answer the questions that a lot of us have had over the last week. Now, on the opposite side of the spectrum, there is one prop firm that I have seen start to come up quite a lot, both on my personal socials and on other YouTube videos, and that is the Funded Trader. And I know it's quite a popular program among some traders. I've never actually joined it myself, but from what I've seen online, from the videos I've seen other people post, and again, I don't have a lot of detail on this, so go search it yourself on YouTube, but it does seem like the Funded Trader is moving in a very similar direction as MyForex Funds, in the sense that there are a lot of examples and sort of live videos that people have taken of their accounts online on YouTube, as I said, where you can see what looks like sort of artificial slippage, huge spikes in spread, people getting put in at completely different positions to what they should be. And I believe there's even an interview with the CEO of the company where he admits to sort of simulating the trading conditions and therefore having control over things like spread and slippage. So yeah, definitely one to watch out for, and not one I would be recommending at all if I was recommending one at the moment, which I don't really like to do. But yeah, the one I would be recommending at the moment is the Fivers. And just watch that video, make your own judgment, and if you have any questions at all, leave them in the description of the video, because I think that pretty much sums up everything. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and yeah, have a great week.